Hello. This is the Intellijel Metropolix. Years ago, when unreasonably excited about the completely badass electro potential of the Metropolis sequencer, I put out this video. So we'll just take a moment to admire those young, supple hands. It seems to show a sequencer I have spent a lot of time with subsequently. Over 5 years later, I still use the Metropolis. It continues to put out the jams, it continues to be my mainstay for improvisation, and as ever, it continues to be a funky little bastard. Which should very well beg the question, how do you improve on it? Well, you basically double the sequencing power. You add saving and recall of the whole state of the machine and the sequences that you've made. You add more flexible hands-on control, and you add all kinds of wonderful internal bells and whistles so that it can modify itself in a variety of extremely cool and interesting ways, and which make its sequences feel even longer than before. So, let's play. An 8-step sequence. Kind of your 8-step sequence thing. And sure, it is like before. You've got sliders. And you've got pulse count and gate type. Very much like before. Except 2 sequences. Both doing a very similar thing right now. Because interestingly, in the default state, both of the tracks do share the sliders, which you might think is a limitation, except both of the tracks can address the sliders in different ways. So for example, one could go in reverse, while the other goes forward. Or we could have different modes, ping pong, but the other jumps by 2 every time. Forward. Nice. So whilst they're sharing the sliders, they're doing different things with them. And of course, you can do things like slide skip, like we were able to do before. If I skip, it skips just what is on track 2, but track 1 is not skipping. Oh yeah. So much like I've been doing with my live system, it's a way of using just one set of sequences, sequencer notes, but addressing them in different ways. It's economical, and I like it. Eminently performable. So good. Slide. We have just granular control over so many things. We can change the type of slide if we wish. And of course, slide the sequences individually. We said we have these control knobs here, which are like the slide and gate knobs on the Metropolis, except in this instance we can completely reprogram what they do. Perhaps I would like them to do all manner of things, such as the octave shifting. of track 1, no problem. So I can now perform that. And perhaps I'd like the second knob to control something on track 2. And I'd like it to control the pitch pre-quantization. There were some other things that this thing could do, like ways it could modulate itself. There's some of those that I'd like to explore, including probability and accumulators. These two are really cool. Obviously, probability is the probability that a stage is going to occur, and you can indeed adjust that, or indeed that a pulse will occur. So if I pick this stage and turn it down, track 2 is reliably blasting along, but track 1 happens only every now and then. You see what I mean about it making it sound like there's more than 8 steps? You know, there's only 3 stages here, but there's a lot more variation because of probability. So, accumulators. Let's simplify and we'll go to track 2. And if I run this, let's put an accumulator on stage 1. Edit, accume, pick stage 1. Can you hear that these stages are changing? Every time it rocks round, what it does is it adds 1 semitone to the stage. Yeah. Oh yeah. Dans cet exemple, we're going to use mods. You have 8 mod lanes, and mods are basically internal kind of complex envelope generators that you can set up on a per step basis. You go to mods in here. We can assign them to various things, lots of lovely internal parameters, but we've got these outputs, A and B. And so these literally allow us to send mods out of the Metropolix to control external things, such as the Atlantis. If I push this, these are the 8 stages of the mod, and then I just turn the dial. See? So we can start to build these little shapes. And to be clear, while it's coming out of the module, we can use that modulation internally. And we have 8 lanes of it. Very interesting. So for example, maybe I want to use the second mod lane to do something. To assign it, I go to mod, and I can assign it to all manner of different things, as I said before, but I think octave shifting is a particularly tasty one. I can have it so it affects track 1 or track 2 or both. Nice. So I'm creating octave shifts. I don't have to use an external LFO, it just does it itself. Wonderful. But there's more to this. They're 8 step at the moment. You might think, oh, that's a bit poopy. However, order. We can change the play order of that mod lane and the length, so that it has an odd stage length and therefore phases. Nice. So with this knob, I control the likelihood that the notes are going to happen, and then there's this kind of phasing thing that's happening with the octave shifts. It's really rather good. So I think we want some like octave shifting happening on that, like mix up. It's a little bit like all or nothing, but it's just all and everything. So how would we do that? We go pitch pre, which is adjusting the pitch before the quantizer. And let's change the length. So it's a 2-step modulation where one of the steps octave shifts by the amount that we determined here. And then let's make the length a funny. Here's a different thing. Instead of the trigger riot, we're going to use the GX, and the GX is going to create the beats for us, because the GX is a gate expander for Metropolix, and it can do lots of different things, such as like clock generation, many other things, but interestingly, it can kick out things related to what the Metropolix is doing. In this instance, I have got the GX in a mode where it is going to output the stage number, i.e. whichever of the stages is active, is going to create a gate. So 1 to 8 corresponds to 1 to 8 here. And so you have this amazing unification of like the stages that the pitch information is from and the beat. And you can edit both at the same time. So if I change the play order, wow, you get a completely different band. Oh my goodness gracious. Gravy and also whiskers. Oh goodness. Then you see how when you start to mess with the pulse counts, you're getting this mad relationship between the two things. They're the same, but it leads for really wonky beats. Here we have yet another example where I want to use accumulators in a slightly more advanced way, because whilst I mentioned that accumulators accumulate, they can do so in a lot of very interesting different ways. So if you go to accumulators, they have different types, in fact. A stage accumulation or a track accumulation. Stage accumulation is what we've been doing up to this point. That one stage accumulates. You hear how it's rising? They can fall. And the other thing that you can do is you can change the limits and what happens. Does it wrap round? Does it ping back? Or is it random? What does it hold when you map controls? So if I map a control 1 to control the accumulator direction on track 1, back it goes. Oh yeah. Down it goes again. Hold. Move. So it just makes these kind of wonderful controls performable. If I go up here, mode, stage to track. What track does is it's going to accumulate the entire track. The whole track shifts up or down by the degree I decree. 2 semitones. Oh goodness. One that uses stages 3 to 8, the other which just uses stages 1 and 2, but using accumulators to keep them rising and falling. there is this thing called Loopy. What Loopy is this kind of like performance mode where you can hold down steps and perform the stages. it's a way of kind of performing the stages of Metropolix in a way that you just cannot do on the original. But it's not just single stages. If you hold 2, then it will cycle between them. And currently it's cycling track 1, but it can do track 1 and 2. Really good for like grabbing and performing. If you touch the loopy button while you're holding them, it holds. Wicked. Nice.